Alright, so, some people know me in game as one name. Some people know me in other games as another name. I'm new at this. I have no dreams of being the next dream, or dreams, or whatever you have there. I just like video games, and I spend a lot of time diving into those video games. And, I want to share what I figure out with people. And someone asked me about this, and I decided it was a good time to kick this off. And even if it's just something that my friends can go check out when they have questions, that's good enough for me. So the moniker that you will all know me as, or no one will know me as, is the Southern Shaman. Because obviously, from my dialect and the way I speak, I'm from, where it's sunny a lot. But what I was asked is the viability of combining mage-like weapons in New World with melee weapons and of the sort, and gem conversion and stuff like that. I'm not an expert, and I didn't spend a lot of time getting just specific absolute gear for this. I just want to give some examples and direction and say that there's a lot more information out there should you choose to hunt it down. But before you waste your time, I'd like to show you a few things. So, we're just going to dive right into it. What we have here is, it could be a 625 build, but I'm using a Greatsword that I can use for both situations that I'm going to explain. And I'm not going to pump any shards into it. So, we have a 448 strength and a 50 con setup here. I normally wouldn't run that in a mutation. I would split those attributes up. So, let's go do that right now. Because, if you're not aware, there are diminishing returns. So, let's just leave that at 300. And let's come down here. And let's pump the rest into dex. There we go. And now we're going to do heavy attacks. So we get a really good high number. So 4135 was that one. And 2454. 4135 plus 2454. That's 6,589 with nothing but food and a honing stone. The Greatsword has Flame Attunement on it, so that's 14% more damage plus the backstab from the rogue. So let's see what the Flame Attunement does. So that looks like a max of 388 more damage with your attributes split like that. That's not standing in an oblivion. That's not trophies. That's not any kind of empowered or, a whole bunch of things like that, or rend or what have you. We're talking about PvE content here. Should have mentioned that going forward in the beginning. So, what we'll do now is we'll play with it. We'll add an intelligence blunderbuss. And some intelligence gear. Okay. Then we'll come back to the attributes. We will respec. Let's hit that 50 con that I normally run in a mutator. And let's, we'll do 300 int and see if we can't hit the cap for the slash damage. That's stamina damage, slashing and strike. So we could play with it here some if we wanted to. Lower the strength, increase the intelligence. We could even run 50 dex if we're counting on keenly fortified or things like that. But let's just do the strength and keep it simple. So 1926, 2055, 2096, 2229. 2096 plus 2229. That's 4,325. Now, let's see what we got on the blunderbuss here. It looks like about 507 with a 685. 710. Okay. 564. 734. So that's that. Now, let's go back up here And we'll throw. Well, the game thinks I'm in combat. So we'll wait just a second. Okay, now we're back to strength. Let's mess with it again. Okay. We flopped the strength for the intelligence. So it looks to be about the same for your blunderbuss. It scales off of both. A smidge higher at 804. Let's swap to the Greatsword. Greatsword is 2706. Oh, 30. Okay. Let's see if we can get that again. I think that was the backstab proccing. So right at, I'm not going to add it up right now for the sake of time. Oh, I can't get it to hit again. There we go. So a little over 5k. So a little more damage on your Greatsword. So what that tells me is your blunderbuss is getting the max amount of damage that you can get out of that. And you're still maintaining about the same damage on the Greatsword. So that's one way to do it. Another way is you can drop the blunderbuss for another intelligence weapon. So it looks like the highest number in that grouping is about 931. And around 141. Oh, there was 1,037 in there. Okay. Didn't mean to do that. And you're still doing around, on a good hit, about 5k damage with your Greatsword. Now let's see if we can get... Still looks to be about, consistently about 5k damage per hit on your Greatsword. So, why, you ask? Some refer to it as a battle mage build, and that's okay. You can call it what you want. But what that does is it says, well, I'm running a fire staff, but I don't necessarily want to run an ice gauntlet or void gauntlet as my secondary. Maybe not even a blunderbuss that scales off of intelligence, or any of the potential other weapons they're going to put in the game. But what if you had something for utility? What if you ran an axe for a Gravwell, and an enfeebling Maelstrom? You're still doing a bit of damage. Most people run a secondary for utility. Yes, the damage is good, it is important, but it gives you viability as a mage, to still do some of the capabilities of melee players, like grouping and rend and enfeebling and things like that. It also gives you the ability as a melee player to run a void gauntlet, and not completely, castrate the damage you're doing with your melee weapon. Because at 300 strength, you're going to start hitting diminishing returns. Even maybe before that. I haven't tested it thoroughly. But, even if you only run 50 int and a void gauntlet, that's extra oblivions, that's screams if you get in trouble, that's all kinds of things you can do there with that. Um, but at the end of the day, you know, the reason I started playing New World was because it's like a choose your own adventure. And then in today's New World, you have all these specific metas and things you have to do to clear M10s and things of that sort, and builds you have to run, and must have ward, and must have this, and must have that. And at the end of the day, there's not a build that you can't put in front of me that I couldn't make work in an M10 and carry my own weight. You could even throw a rapier in with the Greatsword, and you could run a Dex Int build and still get a great amount of utility and damage out of that. If you're dodging around trying not to die, running around the fight, the clump, potioning, potting, because the healing just isn't enough to keep you alive, you're doing it wrong. If you're in light armor and you can't stay up and use your abilities to keep you in the fight, putting down persistent damage, why are you in light armor? Run medium armor, run low con, maximize your empower, and you can still clear an M10 with gold times. All these metas and ideas that you have to have this and have to have that to clear a gold M10 in a certain amount of time it's based on speed running and things of that nature. So leaderboards, what have you. But again, this is rough. I'm not good at this. I was just answering a question. If I've done something wrong, if I've made a mistake, point it out. I'll correct it next time, or I'll fix it on this one, however I have to. But that's just a little tidbit about it. And I can do more. I can answer more questions. I can show you ways that people tell you it can't be done, that it can be done. If you're running 300 con as a tank, ward is nice, but you don't have to have it. At 300 con, if you run the right tank build, you don't need ward, meaning you can essentially run 3 viable perks on your armor. You can run refreshing ward, you can run invigorated and vigor, and whatever you want. Well, all the weapons perks, you can be completely kitted out. You don't need ward. Some of them more complicated M10s maybe, but for an M10 Laz 300 con for the grit, you don't need ward at all. No matter what anyone says, it's a proven fact. So that's my goal, is to help people find a way to enjoy this game without people who make money for telling you how to play the game to force you to play the game that way. And what I mean by that is, there's nothing against streaming or YouTubing, obviously, because I'm doing it. But I'm not doing this for dreams of monetization or money or anything like that. I just want to share information and show people that, don't be designed to drive the same highway as everyone else. Make your own path. And then, get in the car and go. As long as it's not a Subaru. Thank you.